The word litigation itself is a very intimidating word, and it scares people. So to try to break it down, I would start by saying really what we're talking about is a lawsuit and going to court. And you can be on either side of that equation. You could be the plaintiff, who is the party that's suing, or you can be the defendant, who's the party that's being sued. At our firm here at Resnick Law, we represent both plaintiffs and defendants. Sometimes we have to initiate cases on behalf of a plaintiff who may be suing to pursue their rights or to collect money or some type of real estate dispute, for example, with regard to a project, or it could be a homeowner who's in a dispute with a builder, for example, who built their home. And then we also represent defendants when they are being sued. They don't want to be sued. They're not being asked to be sued. They're trying to resolve the differences, but unfortunately, the party they're in a dispute against decides they're going to pursue their case in court. My mentality when I advise clients, both individuals and businesses, is really to avoid court if you at all possibly can. And that's going to sound funny because I do a lot of litigation and I'm in court all the time. But what I've learned over the last 25 or 30 years as an attorney is that it's a very expensive process, meaning the attorney fees are very expensive. It's a slow process. It doesn't go fast. It's a very anxiety and stress-filled process. It's an intimidating process. And the results are uncertain because it's out of your control. The results are going to be dictated by a judge in some cases or a jury in other cases, but rarely are they going to be controlled by the individual or the business who's either suing or being sued. So we try to resolve disputes before they go into a lawsuit, if we can, to save the client money and to save all that anxiety and stress. But sometimes they're unavoidable. For example, if you are a defendant, I tell clients, well, you got to the dance, you weren't invited, you're just there. So once you're there, we at Resnick Law will advise that defendant, how can we resolve this dispute? How can we minimize the cost? How can we minimize the exposure? We've handled some cases that are relatively small. In district court, for example, cases are under $25,000. In circuit court, or otherwise known as the county court, that are over $25,000. We've handled cases in federal court, and some of those cases, for example, I handled a case about 2 summers ago that was $220 million. So we've really handled the gamut of lawsuits from small ones to large ones, but of course the larger ones typically are more complicated and more expensive, but here we know how to deal with them whether they're small or large and whether you're the plaintiff or the defendant. At Resnick Law, we work for you. It's the client who hires a law firm, not the other way around.